Hi, everyone, and welcome to the OLIF podcast, where we discuss educational and relevant topics about Olympic weightlifting. My name is Anton Jefferson.
And I'm JP Nicoletta, and today we're going to do the final World Team Qualifier, and this is the final World Team Qualifier, heading into the World Championships, which will go off November 27th through December 5th in Anaheim.
Yeah.
The final World Team Qualifier is going to be the American Open 3 Series in Michigan, or in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which will happen September 8th through 10th. So we're releasing this a little bit ahead of that. Things could change, but we have at least the initial start list. We know what the rankings are heading into it. So we figured it would be fun to take a look at lifters who are going to be in Grand Rapids, who's not, and break down what we can see or who we think has a shot of upsetting things as they currently stand, hopefully to get on the team. You know, Anton, what was it when we were talking in the last episode? I think what was it on the entries before it closed?
It was in the 300s, or in the low 300s. Where is it now?
690 or something?
Yeah,
I think after entries have closed.
687.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a 687 person start list at Grand Rapids for the AO3, of which I guess we're probably, as far as the world team is concerned, going to be talking about 10 or so of them.
Yeah.
And this is not going to be a trials session, so to speak. I mean, it's a meet, but it happens to be the final World Team Qualifier. So all of these lifters are going to lift in the A sessions for their classes.
Yes. So it definitely won't be a separate section. And I think that makes it kind of tricky for coaches, because it's not that you get to see what the person's doing, immediately. You get to see what somebody done and what they've done, and then you get to go back and make a new plan if you need to on the next day.
That's the thing, immediately. So at least when you're in a trial session, right then and there. If a 48 kilo lifter that has an impact, and there is one, or could have an impact, goes on Friday, it may not be until Sunday that she knows her fate, right? So there's that aspect of it. I guess you want to start with the men?
Yeah, let's start with the current men's team. We have at the top CJ Cummings in the 69 weight class with a 322 kilo total, and that projects him to 7th.
And he is going to be in Grand Rapids, but I don't think it matters.
So
we'll come back to that.
So CJ's ranked number 1 on the world team right now. He doesn't necessarily need to lift. He can't get bumped down to 9th place or
9th.
There's no way. And the fact is that he's the youngest kid on the team is amazing. I'm pretty excited to see him lift. He just keeps improving. So I'm pretty sure he's going to the AO3 to get a meet in. Maybe with his training, he'll do a heavy session or something like that.
But his history, he almost never does that though, right? Yeah, it's like every time he lifts, it's something big again.
He's been really working on the snatch. But I've been following him on Instagram, and the snatch is it's improving as he should, as much as he trains. So that's CJ. And then next we have Colin Burns, Angelo Bianco, and D'Angelo Osorio. And you want to talk about those guys for a moment?
Yeah, so those guys I consider the locks, right? Yeah. Of those top 4, only CJ Cummings is on the start list for the AO3. They don't need to be there, and they're not. I think they're going to make the team regardless of what happens, and you don't really have to dig deeper than that. So the next 2 become interesting.
Yeah, so after them, it's Harrison Morris and Wes Kitts.
They are not there, so they're ranked 5th and 6th, at least from what I found. 332 projects Harrison Morris to 16th place. At 105, Wes Kitts has a 375, which projects to 17th place.
And when you say they're not there, for the people, clarification, they're not on the start list.
They're not on the start list for AO3. So what they're doing is they're basically saying, all right, we've got what we've done, and we're going to let that ride, and we believe it'll hold up. Harrison Morris is 5th. Wes Kitts is 6th. I think Kane Wilkes is 7th.
Yes.
With the 394, he projects to 18th. Jason Bonnick at 94 kilos, currently at 351, projects to 18th. He's 8th. Okay, and even though Wilkes and Bonnick both project to 18th, I believe Wilkes is ranked ahead because he's only 2 kilos away from the next highest spot, whereas Bonnick is 4 kilos away from the next spot on that ranking table. So I'll lump Kane Wilkes into the probables. So Harrison Morris, Wes Kitts, Kane Wilkes at 5, 6, and 7 are not on the start list for the trial, for AO3 trial, but I think they will still hold up.
Okay.
But they're in some danger, but it's still, I think, in their favor. So we can break that down a little bit.
Yeah, you have you call these guys the probables. And I want to discuss a wild card in your probable area, which is Travis Cooper. He needs a big total here, and it's the crazy thing is Cooper can do it.
But it was crazy going through this year to not see Travis Cooper on any start lists or on any teams. I mean, he was the guy who literally made every major team last quad. Yeah. So to not see him at Pan Ams or to not see him at Nationals was, in a way, I think sad for us because we're so used to seeing him at the top. But, he took some time. He had some life changes. And hopefully he is in shape. Now he's on the start list. This is the first time that we're going to see him back at a major competition, I guess, since the Olympic trial last year, since Nationals last year.
Yeah, he won.
So, or was he at
Well,
Pan
he won
Ams?
Nationals, senior Nationals last year as well.
And then I think he went to Pan Ams. But his being on this start list at 77, he's currently got a clear line in the sand that he has to get to, right? And that number is 333 because Harrison Morris has 332, which puts him fifth on the team right now. If Cooper gets to 333, which would tie him with Bianco, it would not move him ahead of Bianco, but it would move him obviously ahead of Harrison Morris. And the thing that's crazy about the 77s on that place and score table is that 333 jumps you from a 16th place projection to a 13th place projection, even though he would be tied and slightly behind Bianco. I hope that doesn't sound confusing, but that has relevance to the rest of the field if he can bump Harrison Morris out. The problem for Cooper, if you want to call it a problem, is that 333 I think would be the best total that he's ever made at 77. He's done more. What is he? He's done north of 340.
He's done more as an 85.
Either way, what he's looking at is a lengthy layoff into a requirement to make like an all-time best total, give or take, at 77. Well,
given the the psychological no stress there, where he gets the time to just take time off and train, and he's not required to do anything beyond himself, we'd be surprised. We might be surprised. Yeah.
He's a gamer.
Cooper competes.
In my head, the number is if he could snatch north of 145, he's in it. If he's below 145 in the snatch, it's going to be, he's going to need a huge clean and jerk. So either way, he's one of the people on the start list that can upset the apple cart, and that could be a threat to Harrison Morris. He can't place under Harrison Morris and bump anybody else because we have 277. So Bianco is basically a lock. And the joke that we can make is that Tatum might have helped contribute to making Cooper's life a lot harder. His good friend James Tatum, who didn't lift or wasn't able to lift at Pan Ams, opened the door for Bianco, and Bianco ran through it like a bat out of hell. You know what I mean? That 333, puts Bianco, I think, in a lock position like we were talking about. So that's one guy. Wes Kitts has had nothing but danger lurking at all angles, I guess. He is in good shape, obviously ranked 6th, but he wasn't able to move up ahead of D'Angelo Osorio, who has that 376 kilo total. He's only 1 kilo behind. But, Donovan Ford took a crack at Kitts at the AO2 in Miami. He missed a 210 clean and jerk that would have moved him ahead. And what did Kitts miss that he got called down? He got called on that press out in Miami. I think that was an important 205. I think that would have helped his cause, but in any case, not to be. But point is he's sitting there. Donovan Ford is not going to go after it, and Donovan Ford we can hold off on the side as another question mark, but Donovan Ford's not going to be in Michigan.
That's another wild
Ian Wilson
card.
Is.
If he's in shape, he's somebody who could shake things up as well, just like Cooper could.
Right. So Ian Wilson did 360 in Chicago at the Nationals. He took weights that would have totaled out. He missed them, but I think he took weights that would have totaled out to 373. That obviously makes him dangerous. With Ian Wilson, with his past, we know that his injuries have held him back over the last couple of years, but you got to figure if his name is there, you have to respect that it's there. So he's somebody to watch, but we'll see if he's ready to do it, and that'll be somebody else who could potentially threaten one of those 3 guys that we mentioned, Morris, Kitts, and Wilkes. Now, Wilkes is interesting because normally when you would look at somebody who's ranked 7th, you would think that they're on the bubble, but I don't think so for Kane. I think if something unexpected happens, he'd still be ranked 8th. I think he'd still be inside the cut line. You know what I mean? I think it's Jason Bonnick at 94, who's currently ranks 8th, that's in the most jeopardy. So if we're going to talk about the person most likely, I think Wilson's a real threat. I think Cooper's a real threat. But if you want to put the pressure or the spotlight on anybody, it's Nathan Damron.
Yeah, Nathan Damron is coming for that 94
Jason
spot.
Bonnick.
Yeah, and he's
because
done
right
the numbers,
now,
just hasn't put it together in competition.
In competition, so he's done the numbers right. Like, what do you when you think?
I think
Nathan Damron,
160, 200. I think 160, 200 in a good day. That's 360. That would put him.
360 would put him on the team.
Yeah, 360. He knows going to sleep every day what he has to do. He knows what he does in training. He just doesn't put it together on the platform of competition.
But I think like 352 could arguably put him on the team because right now Jason Bonnick has that 351. Bonnick is not on the start list, at least from what I can
that's
tell.
all you need now is just 352 and hope that
moves ahead of Bonnick.
And nobody else moves ahead. Because if Cooper gets on this list,
Cooper could make 352 in jeopardy. Could put 352 in jeopardy. So look at it like this: Tatum's not on the list actually. Tatum and oddly enough, Tatum is now ranked ninth. He's an alternate, and I think he'll hold up as an alternate.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to him. So looking at Jason Bonnick's 351, if Damron can do 352, that would move him ahead, right? That puts him like in that 8th spot. But if Damron can get to 355, which again we think he can do, moves him to 17th, and 356 moves him to 16th.
360.
And I think if he
14.
gets in that,
right. A couple places behind Bird.
He's got a big window of opportunity, Nathan Damron. There's a lot that can go his way if he has the kind of day that we've been hoping that
if he has any of the days that he has in training on any given day, he should be on this team. There's no reason
That's right.
why not.
So that makes the 94s an obvious must watch, and I think the spotlight shines brightest on Nathan Damron as someone who you'd expect to do it. The others, like we mentioned, Ian Wilson, it's just a question of has he gotten himself back into that pre-injury shape? And Travis Cooper, is he in top shape after, what amounts to like a year layoff from competition? They both very well could be, but if they aren't, I don't know that you're expecting them to be as much, right? Yeah. Damron, I think we're expecting
much
to make
more from a young and active lifter who's been moving up in the ranking and who should be on this team.
So the other person then is Ethan Herrick. Now, Herrick made the Pan Am team as a super on the back of his 370 that he did at the 2016 American Open as a super. I think a lot of us forgot about that. I didn't even realize that was the total that was used to place him onto the Pan Am team, which straight up qualified him. He's got, I think, a shot at getting up into probably that alternate range. I don't know that he could surpass Kane Wilkes at 394. That's a big number. It's really a question of can Ethan Herrick do enough to get him up into that alternate range, which for now he would have to project to like 24th, which would be 373, 375 area. If he's in there, he's probably going to get a look. Don't forget, we've got this scenario where they could name more than 10 people to the team, and then when you enter your list just before Worlds, there has to be like 10 people on it. That could include two alternates. So they could name like 12 or 13 people here, and I think that Ethan Herrick might be one of them. The question is will he be named as one of the alternates when they get to Worlds?
And the reason for the alternates is if somebody gets injured or if things change up or we can score more points at a certain weight class, we bring that person on, but they have to be declared as an alternate previously.
And alternates do find their way onto teams. I mean, Angelo Bianco, great example with Pan Ams, and CJ Cummings in 2015 took Donovan Ford's spot.
And look what it's done for him. It's good.
Being an alternate's a big deal.
Don't count your chickens out just yet as an alternate, guys.
The other mentions of the alternates, they're both not on the start list. You have Tatum, who I guess isn't ready. He withdrew from Pan Ams. I guess he's not ready to make a go of it. He currently projects to 21st, which likely will hold up. That has him, I guess, 9th. He should hold up as an alternate. And then Brian Reisenauer at 56 is the other alternate. He just had sort of a windmill experience in
Yeah,
Miami with
you're on the team, you're off the team, you're on the team, or you're lifting, you're not, you're lifting, you're not. So I mean, and that's what happens. That definitely that's what happens in the trying to score the most points that you can. And USAW's been doing great with that recently for sure.
Well, he did lift at Reisenhower, did lift at the AO2. He wound up lifting 39. There. He did the 239, which currently has him ranked 10th. He missed 134, I think, on his second and third attempts in Miami.
Bumped him up to 240.
But that would have moved him into a 21st place projection. Either way, I think that would have given him like a similar
still be an alternate.
Ranking. So
it's tough. Weightlifting.
But because
weightlifting is tough for the little guys in America. I have no answer for that, but it's always been tough. The fact that maybe our average guys are bigger, we don't make too many 56 kilo men, as in like Asian countries are typical. So it's quite tough for the little guys.
All right, so on the men's side, that means the 4 guys to watch at the AO3 in that final qualifier are Damron. The numbers that he needs, we think, are 352 to get ahead of Bonnick, 354 to get ahead of Wilkes, and 356 would move him up to 6th to move him ahead of Wes Kitts. So those are the numbers for Nathan Damron. Ian Wilson needs 376 to bump Kitts. Mm-hmm. He needs to get at least that high because you've got D'Angelo Osorio above both of above Kitts right now. So that's, I think, the number for Ian Wilson. Travis Cooper has to get 333 to bump.
It's going to be tough for these guys. That's going to be exciting to watch.
And then Ethan Harrick is the 4th one. I guess he's got to be around that 380 mark to make a play for an alternate spot.
All right, on to the women. So we have Maddie Rogers ranked at the top of the list here. And it's quite interesting to see, so many females with ranked totals.
Yeah, there are more women lifters with ranked totals than I think there were on the men's table anyway, from what we could see now. But run through the...
Yeah, definitely. So the current team is Maddie Rogers, Sarah Robles projects 6th, Caitlin Hogan projects 10th, Jessica Lucero
that's
projects... 3rd. Oh, are we talking... So I'm talking projections here as far as... Okay, when we mention projections, we're talking as far as the worlds, where we could be and where they're placement is projected, not necessarily where they rank on the U.S. World Team or where they could rank.
Right. Yeah, I think Caitlin Hogan is 3rd, even though
we're
she
going
projects to 10th.
Here. So Jessica Lucero is 4th, and she's projected 10th. Alyssa Ritchie, 5th, projected 13th. Taylor Stallings, 6th, projected 13th. Maddie Myers, 7th. Is that 7th? Yeah. Projected 14th. Kathleen Winters, 8th, projected 15th. And the 2 alternates are Allie Ludwig, projected 16th, and Morgan King projected 16th as well.
All right, there's a lot more going on, and there's a couple of things here, even with the rankings. So even though Rogers and Robles both project to 6th, I think technically Rogers ranks ahead of Robles because she's closer to the 5th place total. And I think that's the same thing for Hogan and Lucero in that 3 and 4 spot. The way that they break the ties, I'm pretty sure, are you look at what place you project to, and then you look how far away you are to the next place. And then if that's the same, the tiebreaker is who did the qualifying total first.
So that's the subjective nature of the subjective list.
I guess so, yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, Caitlin Hogan's at 193. The next place is 194. Jessica Lucero, 208. Next place is 209. They're both ranked 10th. Who's ahead? Caitlin Hogan, because she did the total first. And even that's tough because say if it was...
I'm not even sure if she did do it first. I'm not even 100% sure. But either way...
The lighter weight classes
I'm considering both of them locks.
Yeah, but they're going to be locked. But that's an interesting system.
So let's get into that.
Yeah, so...
Who are the 4 here? There are 4 here that I think we believe are locked.
Yeah.
Right.
So definitely Maddie Rogers, Sarah Robles, Caitlin Hogan, most likely Jessica Lucero are locked. It would be hard to bump these ladies. And you want to tell us why, JP?
I just don't, even with all the action that you're going to see, I just can't imagine 4 people moving all 4 of them down. Even Lucero, I find it hard to believe that she would drop from 4th, if she is 4th, all the way down to 8th or below 8th.
And that's the thing where you could argue that many of the locked athletes, you understand that they're not going to lift. They're not going to need to lift if they have an established total. They're going to wait it out. It's not a nail-biter situation for these ladies in the top 4.
No. Correct me if I'm wrong. None of them are on the start list. Maddie Rogers for AO3. Maddie Rogers, Sarah Robles, Caitlin Hogan, and Jess Lucero are not on the
There
start
you have
list.
it. Alyssa Ritchie.
Alyssa Ritchie. That kind of rounds out our, like what we're calling the locks, right? The probables, if you want to call it that. I would probably put Alyssa Ritchie as a probable. Same reason.
Now, why'd you have Alyssa Ritchie as a probable? I want you to break that down for me.
It's at 40.
She can get bumped.
She could.
1, 2, 3, 4 spots.
She's currently ranked 13th, or she projects to a 13th with 174. Even if Megan Siegert, who is her biggest threat, can do 175, it would move Ritchie down and Winters off. But I find it hard to think of a scenario where Ritchie would drop to 9th. Could happen. She could drop to 8th, but I don't think she's going to drop to 9th, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
The bubble, if you will, then leaves you...
Is anything under 4th place is basically... It's going to be tough.
Well, and the others that I think are in jeopardy could be like a Taylor Stallings, a Maddie Myers, and Kathleen Winters. Yeah, so you're right. What you're saying is right. So let's take a look at who's on the team and who can get bounced around. Yeah.
So we got Morgan King on the start list. I'm very happy to see Morgan lifting. We haven't seen much of her this year. I mean, she did the AO2. Obviously, she has big plans, and Worlds should be one of them. She needs this competition. And so AO2 was knocking off the rust and getting back into competition mode. And she has to turn around and compete again to grab that spot because she's ranked on the bottom of the alternates. She's 10th right now.
So what the 184 that she did in Miami accomplished was bump her or move her ahead of Courtney Batchelor and Jordan Delacruz, who are both, or Delacruz is interesting because she and Morgan King are both on this start list. Mm-hmm. And I think when we're looking at the 8, I think we feel like 253s are going to make it. Like everybody assumed that Caitlin Hogan and Batchelor were going to make it. And now that Morgan King is back, I think you still assume that another 53 is going to be on the team. But Jordan Delacruz is, a junior lifter who's been on the rise in a big way.
Never counted
you really got to think that she's got a shot too. They're both on the star list. So in my opinion, the 53 class at the AO3 is going to be the most important one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a war. I mean, there's a lot of competition here with all the ladies. I mean, if Morgan moves from 184 to 186...
She still has to beat Delacruz.
She still has to be,
So Delacruz, I mean, if you can do 183, you got to think that she's in the fight, right?
Yeah.
Where'd she do that? In Tokyo at the Junior World. So if she's good for a couple more kilos, Jordan Delacruz can really make things interesting. The thing that's crazy is that Courtney Batchelor, it looks like she's out. If she's not on this start list, it doesn't look like she's going to be able to make the world team. We'll see how that dogfight early between Jordan Delacruz and Morgan King shakes out.
With Morgan King here, I like the strategy of going to a 53 instead of saying the 48. I really like that strategy. I'm not sure if it will make a difference, though, because it's not like you're going to an easier class.
No, I mean, you're going to have to break an American record to get ahead of Caitlin Hogan.
Yeah, I don't count anybody out, but I definitely don't see that happening. And Caitlin Hogan is not on the start list. She's not going. She doesn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, I don't think so. She's letting it ride. That's the 53s. Those are the ones that are entered that I think can mix things up. The other big name is the return of Jenny Arthur.
Yes.
At 75 kilos. So with Jenny Arthur...
Another lifter who I'm happy to see lifting again. Another one of our Olympians from the last quad. I mean, and I know, after the Olympics, you want to take time off. Enjoy things with your family. It's been tough. We have such a young community of weightlifters that you can't take too much time off, or one of these juniors are coming for your spot.
Yeah, well, that's kind of Morgan King's situation, right? We're not even juniors, just up and coming people getting into their prime, right? So, I mean, I think with Jenny Arthur, I think she lifted at a local meet recently in Colorado. This is the first time she's back in a major competition. And for her, you got to figure the number. I mean, there's a couple of numbers, but the main one would be to bounce off Taylor Stallings. And if she does 224, she moves ahead of Taylor Stallings.
Which is doable. We just haven't seen a lift.
Yeah. And you got to figure that's 220s for Jenny Arthur over her career, I mean, that's not really pressing her American record total. It's not up near her best. So you got to expect that Jenny Arthur is going to bump at least one person down.
Yeah.
That means that Kathleen Winters, even Maddie Myers, could be in trouble. So let's look at Maddie Myers. Maddie Myers is on the start list.
Yeah.
She did 213 to rank her or project her to 14th, which right now we think has her sitting 7th.
Yes.
So if Morgan King does really well,
that bumps her down.
That could bump her down to 8th.
And when Jenny Arthur puts a total up, anywhere north of 223, that's going to bump her off.
Well, it's going to bump her down. And the other thing is that Maddie Myers does not have the benefit of lifting after Jenny Arthur. She's got to lift first.
Yeah.
And what's even trickier is that the 63 weight class where she's at on that placement table, there's a very big gap to the next highest place. She's got to get all the way up to 219. So you got to figure if Maddie Myers wants to quote unquote lock or really secure a spot, she's going to have to play in that 219 range. And,
does she have the American record? 18 clean and jerk, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
I think she's holding, north. It's definitely north of 115, and I believe it's.
Yep.
With that said, like these ladies have it tough where they have to break American records to make teams, and that's a fantastic thing for weightlifting.
She's not like doomed. It's not like an imminent drop off. You know what I mean? Like she could still very well make the team, even if she doesn't make a 219 or anything. But I think they're looking at it in terms of it's a good time to get a meet in and let's try for something if it's needed.
Well, she needs numbers that like Jerry Vega was putting up or closer to lock in on this team. Because her snatch has never been north of 90, 91 at the most. And she'll need a 95, 118. She'll need to break her American record and then have an all-time PR in the snatch. She'll need to have a perfect day to stay on this team. Whereas Jenny Arthur and King,
just has to have a working
has to have it just come in and lift, So that's why I think for her it's a lot more difficult.
That moves you to Kathleen Winters, who we think will get bumped into an alternate spot either by one of the 53s or by Jenny Arthur. So Kathleen Winters is probably going to land in an alternate spot is what I think we're betting on. The wild cards for me are two lifters. It's Megan Siegert at 48 kilos and then Marissa Klingsheis is going to give it another go at 90.
So let's talk about those guys.
Who do you want to?
Let's go Klingsheis. I haven't seen her lift in a while, and she's always a fantastic lifter. And the debacle she had in the past with Sarah Robles and all that mess. She still came and competed and put up her numbers, and it's always exciting to watch her.
The experiment or the effort to drop down to 90 didn't go well at nationals for Klingsheis. She bombed out. Didn't make the Pan Am team. She's got another shot at it here. And the number that you got to look at, and this is beneficial to the 90s, this is going to help her a lot, where Ali Ludwig has 226, which projects her to 16th. 228 will project you to 14th, and 229 to 13th. So if Klingsheis can make a total in that 228 or 229 range, there's a really good chance that she'll be on the team.
The weight cut is difficult with the new 90 kilo weight class. Strategic move is just sometimes you gotta allow your body to get used to the new weight class, whether it's going up or going down. And obviously going up, you see the immediate benefit of not having to cut weight, and you feel stronger and less depleted.
Yeah, and at nationals she just she made 90 kilos, but she just didn't look settled in. She didn't look great. So hopefully the second time with it will benefit her. She'll have a better feel for it and will be ready to hit the weights that she needs. And if she does, like we're saying, we think that she's really a wild card, but a dangerous factor for the people sitting above her right now, right? So Klingsheis is definitely in play. And then the other one is Megan Siegert, who has been a very good junior lifter, is looking to make her first major team as a senior. And even though she's behind Richie and Winters, she's at 169. I mean, she's less than 5 kilos away from where Kathleen Winters is. So she's relevant. You got to think that she's a dangerous threat to, at minimum, an alternate spot, but maybe a little bit more.
Definitely. And the crazy thing about this is there are some big names on here that you hear often that just so happen to be in weight classes where they can't make this team. Somebody I think of is like Mary Peck, who puts up a fantastic performance. It's just
where is Peck sitting right now?
19.
Peck is
projected
projected to 19th with the
So
203.
she would need 10 kilos, 12, 11 kilos to come near Maddie Myers, who will probably get bumped off this team. We probably won't have any 63s.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, Maddie Myers is a huge question mark. Like, it could work out that she gets bumped off.
Yeah.
It could. If
well, nothing against her. I'm saying right now, she's probably gonna. I'm gonna make the prediction that she's bumped. Her and Kathleen Winters are bumped. I'm not sure about King. I'm more willing to bet some money on Arthur because the total she has to hit is a training total. For her.
Yeah, I would sort of
fifth.
put Arthur
I'm going to put her
in
up
the
there,
same
bumping
light.
up, closer to fifth.
She's someone almost like Dameron on the men's side where we expect.
Yeah, who just like if you just put it together, come on. I know she could do that, so it's going to be tough. I don't think we're going to have any 63s here. The women who we said are locked are definitely locked, and everywhere else is just a gamble.
So do you think we went through the 8: Rogers, Robles, Hogan, Lucero, Ritchie, Stallings, Myers, and Winters? That's leading into the weekend. After the weekend, are you saying that you're gonna add Jenny Arthur and drop Winters, and are you also adding Morgan King and dropping Myers?
I'm not necessarily adding Morgan King because she's got a lot of work to do. But Jenny Arthur doesn't have that much work to do. She has a total in which she hit when she was a 69 junior with like 2 years in the game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Arthur, as long as she doesn't bomb,
as long as she makes a total, she's on the team. So if she gets on that team, that bumps Morgan King
Winters
off as an alternate right now as a current setting. Right now, if King, what would she have to do to bump Kathleen? She just needs 3 more kilos, 4 more kilos from where she's at right now.
King needs to get to 188.
So that means she has to total more than she's ever done in her entire life, which is something that I'm just not banking on. What happens when you go for the big total?
Okay.
Many times you get the big bomb.
It means that it's a lot.
We might have 275s on this list. Taylor Stallings, somebody who's hungry and new, who's gonna compete. She's on the start list. And she's just ready to lift.
That too. So Stallings at least could.
Yeah, she was on the Pan Am team.
Have control of her own fate.
Yeah, she was on the Pan Am team. She didn't get the lift. She didn't have a really good meet at the AO2 right after that. So I think that's somebody, that's a dog in the hunt, like who's coming. Whereas King has to. She doesn't have to. Taylor Stallings doesn't have to do anything spectacular to stay on the team.
At least as an alternate, right? So she'll at least be named to it, and then and I think that's probably the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
For Stallings. I think Stallings it does look pretty good for. For some reason, I feel like Maddie Myers is in more jeopardy than a Taylor Stallings.
Way more jeopardy. And Maddie Myers, I mean, she has a really big clean and jerk. I wouldn't be surprised if the girl will put up a 120 kilo clean and jerk.
So I think that's everything. I mean, we're gonna be a week away from when this releases. The American Open 3 is September 8 through 10. The trials basically are going to be going on all weekend, and every day there will be key sessions to watch. I'm glad I'm going to be there. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
We should build something where people can have a scorecard and you keep track of, or like similar to like a NBA Finals or anything like that. You put in your teams. that'd be good.
I'm going to be running around enough that I don't know that I want to update another spreadsheet, but we'll see if I could think of a way to do it easy. I will.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, those are the rankings for the World Team Qualifier. It's going to be a lot of great weightlifting this weekend, and I hope you guys stay tuned. And we'll be back with more episodes soon.